Airplanes are among the safest means of transportation created by humans, and the main reason for this safety is the amount of technology present in airplanes. However, despite that, accidents do not cease, and the strangest of all are disappearance incidents. The idea that a plane can vanish despite all this technology, radars, satellites and monitoring stations is completely incomprehensible. This has not happened just once or twice. Since the first recorded disappearance in 1948, a total of 83 planes have disappeared to this day. Welcome, I am Rashid. Before we begin, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you can receive our videos as soon as they are uploaded. The Malaysian Airlines plane, a Boeing 777, specifically Flight 370, is the most famous plane disappearance in history. What contributed to the fame of this tragic incident is that it occurred in the age of social media and rapid news spread. Moreover, it had the highest number of victims in disappearance incidents. The plane carried 239 victims. What is even more surprising is that the search efforts for the plane or even its wreckage were the most extensive in history in terms of the area covered and the number of search teams involved. The search efforts included 20 countries working together for 3 continuous years, but unfortunately the result was nothing. The plane took off from Kuala Lumpur, the capital of Malaysia, on March 8, 2014, heading to Beijing. However, about 40 minutes after takeoff, a series of mysterious events began. First, the plane lost contact with the control towers, and then it changed its planned route. Civilian and military radars managed to track the plane for a full 7 hours, but after that it vanished into thin air. There was no wreckage, no ransom demands from hijackers, no radar signal, not even a satellite trace. A year and 3 months after the incident, a piece of the right wing suspected to be part of the plane was found. From that time until 2018, 33 pieces suspected to be parts of the plane were discovered. The Malaysian authorities are almost certain that these pieces belong to the plane. However, until today, no international investigative body has confirmed this matter. Amelia Earhart was a famous American aviator with several records, such as being the second person to fly across the Atlantic Ocean and the first woman to fly solo around the United States. Additionally, she held several other records documented in aviation history. That is why she decided to become the first woman in history to fly around the entire world. On June 1, 1937, she began the journey she had planned, accompanied by navigator Fred Noonan. The aircraft chosen for the journey was the twin-engine Lockheed 10E Electra. The plan was to take off from Florida, pass through several countries and then return to the United States. For an entire month, Captain Amelia was close to achieving her goal. On July 2, 1937, she reached the city of La in Papua New Guinea. The remaining stops before returning to her starting point were Howland Island and then Texas. Howland Island is an uninhabited tropical island in the Pacific Ocean, located roughly midway between Oceania, Australia and America. Up to this point, everything was fine, and Amelia and her navigator Fred Noonan were receiving instructions from the ground control station. However, suddenly, without any distress call or report of a problem, Amelia and her aircraft disappeared forever without explanation. All search efforts for Amelia failed. Until the disappearance of Malaysian Flight 370, there was no mystery more famous or important than the disappearance of Flight 19, led by American officer Charles Taylor. The story of Flight 19 begins on December 5, 1945, during the final months of World War II. The flight was initially a training mission for new pilots under the command of Charles Taylor. From Fort Lauderdale Base in Florida, 5 bombers set out for training, led by the experienced commander with 2,500 flight hours. The first phase of the mission went smoothly, and the new pilots successfully dropped their training bombs and completed their tasks. At precisely 3:45 p.m., only the simplest part remained, returning to the base. However, for an unknown reason, the ground station received a distress message from Taylor, stating that he could not determine the route, and did not know where the land was. Even more strangely, the 5 bombers were not visible on the radar. Initially, the control station assumed the group was flying at a low altitude, which made them undetectable by radar. The controllers attempted to instruct Taylor to adjust his flight altitude so they could assist him. But by that time, the radio signals were breaking up and incomprehensible. It was clear from Taylor's voice that he was confused and frightened. Eventually, communication was lost and the 5 planes disappeared. Immediately, within minutes, 2 rescue planes were dispatched to the estimated location of Flight 19. However, as time passed and fuel levels became a concern, one of the rescue planes returned, while the other also vanished. 6 planes disappeared without any understandable reason, leaving no debris or trace behind. Search operations did not stop. They covered a 500,000 square mile area of the Atlantic Ocean for 5 continuous days, but not a single oil slick or life raft was found. This incident occurred over the area known as the Bermuda Triangle, and it was the main reason behind the emergence of the Bermuda Triangle legend that we all know. Since then, conspiracy theories have spread like wildfire, and Flight 19 remained one of the strangest aircraft disappearance cases ever recorded. On January 30, 1979, Flight 967 of the Brazilian airline Varig took off on a cargo mission from Narita Airport in Japan to Los Angeles, USA. The captain of the flight, Gilberto Araújo da Silva, was one of the world's most skilled pilots. Beyond his 30,000 flight hours at the age of 55, he was also considered a national hero. In 1973, Captain Gilberto successfully landed a burning aircraft carrying 123 passengers on a field near Paris, even though fire had engulfed nearly half the plane. Despite all this experience, the cargo plane on Flight 967 disappeared just 20 minutes after takeoff, carrying 43 people on board. Despite the naval and air forces searching the area for 8 days, no debris, cargo, or passengers were found. A large cargo plane with an elite captain disappeared within 20 minutes of flight, meaning the search area should have been limited. However, there was no trace at all. The only explanation for this bizarre disappearance is that the plane was hijacked by Soviet fighter jets. This claim stems from an event that occurred 3 years earlier when Soviet pilot Viktor Belenko defected to Japan with the USSR's most advanced aircraft at the time, the MiG-25. It is said that upon arriving in Japan, he dismantled the aircraft and later traveled to the USA, seeking political asylum. Supporters of this theory claim that Captain Gilberto and his cargo plane were transporting the dismantled MiG-25 to the United States. However, the KGB uncovered the plan and hijacked the entire plane. Despite this speculation, there is no evidence supporting this claim. Flight 739 on the American Lockheed L-1049H aircraft carried 107 passengers, 93 American soldiers, 3 leaders from South Vietnam, and 11 crew members. The passengers were heading to South Vietnam for military training during the Vietnam War. At the time, America was supporting South Vietnam, while the Soviet Union backed North Vietnam. The flight, later known as Tiger Line Flight 739, was scheduled to start from Travis Air Force Base in California, stopping for refueling in Hawaii, Wake Island, Guam, and the Philippines before reaching Saigon, the capital of South Vietnam. However, Guam was the last point of contact with the plane. After that, it completely disappeared along with all 107 people on board.